In January 2024, a door plug blew off a brand new 737 MAX. It was the latest disaster in a 5-year collapse that has wiped out $50 billion. 10 years ago, Boeing was untouchable. Today, they are fighting for survival. How did this happen? Pilots wanted to fly them. Airlines fought to buy them. Passengers didn't even think twice. Boeing meant safety, innovation, power. But today, the name is more likely to be followed by the word investigation. 737 MAX crash, Boeing grounded, door plug blowout, CEO resigns, production halted, billions lost, trust shattered. And over just 5 years, Boeing has burned through more than $50 billion. That's more than the GDP of countries like Iceland or Jordan. So what happened? Was it just bad luck? A couple of crashes? A few delays? No, this is the story of how the world's most respected plane maker walked headfirst into a storm of its own making, and how every decision made things worse. The 737 MAX wasn't just a new model, it was Boeing's answer to a threat. Airbus had launched its A320neo. Orders poured in. Airlines loved the fuel savings. Boeing's aging 737 family of jets, a workhorse of the skies, suddenly looked vulnerable. So Boeing made a choice. Don't reinvent the plane. Upgrade it. Fast, cheap, competitive. But that choice had consequences. They put a bigger engine on a frame designed in the 1960s. To make it work, engineers added MCAS, a hidden software fix. It was supposed to make the plane feel normal to pilots, but the fix came with a dark secret. If the sensors gave bad data, the system could force the plane down against a pilot's input. And that is exactly what happened. One crash in Indonesia, one crash in Ethiopia. 346 lives lost. Suddenly, the engineering giant's greatest strength, precision, looked like hubris. The FAA grounded the fleet. Airlines around the world cancelled flights. Every grounded plane was $1 million in lost revenue per day. Lawsuits stacked up. Compensation to airlines ballooned. Order cancellations piled up like a freight train. And all of it, the grounding, the investigations, the brand damage, was costing Boeing billions per quarter. This wasn't just a product failure, it was a business catastrophe. But Boeing didn't just lose money on compensation, it lost credibility. And credibility in aviation, once broken, is incredibly hard to rebuild. While the world's eyes were glued to the MAX headlines, another silent crisis was unfolding. One Boeing didn't broadcast. Enter the 777X. A plane designed to be Boeing's flagship long-haul aircraft, a direct competitor to Airbus's A350. It wasn't just another jet, it was the next chapter of Boeing's future. But every step forward became 2 steps back. Certification delays, redesigns, technical problems, new requirements demanded by regulators burned time and money. Airlines, once patient, began questioning their future orders. But the losses weren't limited to commercial aviation. Boeing's defense division, a supposed buffer in downturns, became another hole in the hull. They signed fixed-price contracts with the US government, meaning if costs went up, Boeing absorbed the difference. And costs did go up. The KC-46 tanker program, meant to modernize airborne refueling, ran late and over budget. Every delay meant Boeing was eating higher production costs while the contract price stayed the same. Then came Air Force One. Promised delivery windows slipped, technical hurdles rose, and every extra hour of labor came out of Boeing's pocket. And then there's Starliner, Boeing's spacecraft designed to ferry astronauts to orbit. History remembers NASA as bold and daring, but the Starliner timeline reads like a cautionary tale. Delays, safety retests, launch scrub after scrub. By the time 2024 rolled around, these projects, once thought to cushion the commercial downturn, had become part of the massive $50 billion hole. This was no longer about one plane. This was about an entire organization paying for every strategic gamble it had ever taken. And then came the moment everyone feared. January 2024, Alaska Airlines Flight 1282. A door plug, installed during production, blew out mid-flight. No fatalities, but a terrifying emergency descent. Unsecured cabin items strewn about, passengers terrified, headlines screaming, the FAA grounded dozens of jets. Regulators around the world stepped in. Airlines demanded inspections. Pilots expressed deep concern publicly. Investigators found what no airline executive wants to hear: missed bolts, shoddy inspections, incomplete quality control records. This wasn't just an isolated error. So Boeing did what any company under intense scrutiny does. They initiated internal investigations. But the damage was already done. Because in aviation, safety isn't just a process, it's a reputation. And reputation doesn't heal with press releases. Airlines began factoring Boeing's production issues into their future planning. Delays became expected. Reliability became questionable. Every airline CEO who once said, "We choose Boeing because of consistency," now used words like competitiveness and risk. Suddenly, customers weren't just buying planes, they were buying peace of mind. And peace of mind shifted toward Airbus. This is where the story gets even more interesting and expensive. Boeing wasn't just losing money on direct costs. They were paying what analysts call a reputation tax. The hidden cost of eroded trust. Airlines started doing the math differently. Delays weren't seen as one-off setbacks, but as risk. Delays could alter schedules, hurt revenue forecasts, disrupt fleet planning. Some airlines began to favor Airbus orders, not purely for price, but for reliability. Air India, Ryanair, Turkish Airlines, major fleets across Europe and Asia. Many made strategic shifts in procurement, signaling a long-term tilt away from Boeing dominance. This isn't an overnight shift, it's generational. Once a manufacturer's reputation falters, airlines hedge. They diversify. They protect their schedules by not betting everything on one supplier. And that means lost future revenue. Orders Boeing likely will never get back. Some analysts compare it to a credit downgrade. The plane maker still exists, but the cost of doing business goes up. Every delay becomes more expensive. Every inspection more intense. Every certification more politically charged. The cumulative effect? More money out. Future business compromised. Market share shrinking. And while Airbus celebrates quarterly order wins, Boeing faces a stark question. Can you recover when your name itself is now a risk factor? To understand how Boeing lost $50 billion, you have to look not just at what happened, but why. Inside Boeing, engineers once held the culture: rigorous design, conservative safety margins, respect for precision. But over time, particularly after the 1997 merger with McDonnell Douglas, something changed. It started when the executives moved their headquarters 2,000 miles away from the factory floor. The engineers were in Seattle. The money men were in Chicago. Suddenly, the people building the planes weren't being heard by the people signing the checks. Engineering became one voice among many, not the loudest. The MAX decision? Seen through that lens, it wasn't just a technical shortcut. It was a strategic choice influenced by financial pressure. The delays on the 777X, not just engineering problems, but competition for internal resources during the MAX crisis. What happens when the people who design your planes feel unheard, while the people who manage your finances feel empowered? You build jets that fly, but you miss the cracks. By 2024, Boeing had lost a staggering amount. $50 billion in direct costs, indirect fallout, lost future business, and reputation damage. The MAX crisis triggered the spiral. Hidden costs and delays accelerated it. Production and quality failures sped it up. Reputation and culture ensured it continued. And yet, Boeing still exists. Airplanes still roll off the assembly line. Contracts still get signed. Because in aerospace, companies of this scale don't just vanish. But here's the central question, the mystery that lingers in boardrooms and airline strategy meetings around the world. Can Boeing truly fix what broke? Not just the engineering problems, not just the production line issues, not just the financial losses, but the decision-making culture itself. Because a company can replace CEOs, it can restructure business units, it can bring in consultants and auditors, but if the underlying values that once made Boeing great are lost, then the real cost isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in trust. So I'll leave you with the biggest question of all. Can Boeing regain its crown, or has Airbus already written the next chapter of aviation history? Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. See you next time!